You're standing in front of the door, one hand in your pocket, your phone in the other. Your fingers are cold, even though the day is warm. On the other side of that door, there are people you know, people who invited you, people who will ask later why you disappeared if you don't go in. But you can't turn the handle, not because you don't want to, not because you're shy. You actually know what to say. You even rehearsed it, 3 or 4 safe lines. Nothing too loud, nothing too weird. The problem isn't a lack of words. The problem is what happens inside you before you ever open your mouth. Your body already started. Your heart speeds up like you're running from something real. Your breathing gets shallow, stuck in your chest. Your throat tightens, your hands sweat. Your mind spins through sentences you haven't even said yet, already imagining them judged, picked apart, laughed at. And then that inner voice shows up, quiet but firm. Better not go in, or better make an excuse. Better stay invisible. And you listen. You always do, because listening hurts less than risking being seen. If you've been through this, and I know you have, you know social anxiety isn't just nervousness. It's not just being introverted. It's not just not liking parties. It's something deeper, something that slowly cuts you off from the world without you noticing, something that convinces you that you're the problem, that you were born this way, that this is just who you are. But I need to tell you something, and I need you to really hear it. You weren't born afraid of being seen. You learned it, and what's learned can be unlearned. Not overnight, not with a motivational quote, not by forcing confidence, but with method, with clarity, with patience, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Together. This isn't a short video. It's not light. It's not a list of 5 quick tips you try tomorrow and forget next week. This is a journey. We're going deep into what happens inside you when the fear of judgment kicks in. We're going to understand where this alarm came from, why it never shuts off. We're going to name the shadow that's been running this quietly from the background. And then we're going to practice a different way of being. Not perfect, not fearless, but with control, because the goal here isn't to turn you into an outgoing social person who loves attention. The goal is freedom. The goal is being able to stay present, even when it's uncomfortable. The goal is to stop disappearing from your own life just because someone is watching. So stay with me. Don't rush. Don't skip ahead. Don't run. What we're about to walk through has a name. It has an origin. And it has a way out, and when a shadow has a name, it loses power. We're going to start with the body, not theory, not psychology, not technical explanations. We start with what you feel, because before any thought, before any belief, before any fear, there is sensation, and sensation always comes first. You can be at home, alone, and a message pops up in a group chat. Anyone up for lunch on Saturday? Nothing serious, right? But your body reacts before your mind even processes the invite. Your stomach tightens, your chest feels heavy. That urge to escape shows up without you even knowing what you're escaping from. You haven't decided anything yet. You haven't even imagined going, but your body already voted, and it voted no. So your mind steps in and starts creating reasons. I'll probably be tired. I have things to take care of. Maybe another time. But none of those are the real reason. They're covers, polite excuses, hiding what's actually happening underneath. You're afraid of being judged, afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of going quiet and seeming awkward, afraid someone will notice you're nervous, afraid of being exposed as someone who doesn't belong, who's off, who's not enough. And the worst part, you know this fear doesn't make sense. You know most people aren't judging you. You know everyone is busy worrying about themselves. You know all of that. But your body doesn't. Your body acts like you're about to face real danger. Like showing up to lunch is the same as stepping into an arena full of predators, and logic won't calm it down, because what's firing isn't logical. It's automatic. It's a system that was trained quietly to protect you from something it believes is dangerous. Being seen. Here's the part most people miss. They think social anxiety is about other people, what others might think, what they might say, how they might see you, but it's not. Social anxiety is about you, about what you believe will happen if you're truly seen, about what you think will be revealed if someone looks at you long enough. It's about the quiet belief that if people really knew you, they'd realize you're not enough, that you're boring or awkward or weak, that something is wrong with you. And once that's exposed, you'll be rejected. That's the root belief. It doesn't show up as a sentence. It doesn't shout. It doesn't explain itself. It just triggers the alarm anytime there's a chance you might be seen. And the alarm does its job. It pulls you away, keeps you safe, invisible, protected, and alone. Let me introduce you to someone. His name is Raphael. Raphael is 32. He works an office job at a mid-sized company. He's good at what he does, never misses deadlines, never causes problems. Always polite, always available, but no one really knows him. Not because he's mysterious, not because he's rude, but because Raphael disappears whenever there's a chance to be seen. Team meeting, he sits in the corner, takes notes, answers when asked, never raises his hand. Lunch with co-workers, he makes excuses, says he'll eat at his desk, says he has things to finish. After work drinks, he doesn't even consider it. Just thinking about it twists his stomach. At home, Raphael is different. With his sister, he talks, he laughs, he tells stories. With his dog, he's relaxed. On the phone with his mom, he talks about his day without freezing. But around people from the outside world, the Raphael inside disappears, and someone else takes over. A tense Raphael. A Raphael who measures every word, who scans every reaction, who tries to predict everything. A Raphael who believes that one mistake, one awkward pause, one wrong sentence will prove he never belonged there in the first place. Raphael wasn't always like this. As a kid, he talked a lot, played with cousins, asked questions, laughed out loud. But something shifted slowly. There wasn't one big trauma, no single devastating moment. It was a series of small cuts. Once at school, he raised his hand to answer a question. The teacher called on him. He answered. A couple kids laughed. They weren't cruel. It was just a dumb laugh. But Raphael felt exposed. Another time at a friend's house, he told a story he thought was funny. No one laughed. The silence lasted 2 seconds. To Raphael, it felt endless. He decided he'd never try to be funny again. Later, as a teenager, he liked a girl. One day, he worked up the courage to talk to her. She was polite, uninterested. Raphael took that as proof. I'm uninteresting. None of these moments were huge on their own, but together, they formed a story. And the story said, when you show yourself, you get hurt. When you step forward, you fail. When you risk it, you lose. And Raphael's brain learned. It learned that staying invisible was safer, that not drawing attention was smarter, that controlling everything, every word, every gesture, was the only way to avoid pain. That's how the alarm was built. The alarm isn't broken, it's protection, a system assembled piece by piece, experience by experience, to make sure Raphael never felt that pain again. The problem is, the alarm can't tell real danger from imagined danger. It doesn't know the difference between someone might laugh at me and someone might physically attack me. To the alarm, it's all the same, so it fires. At lunch, in meetings, in group chats, even when Raphael is alone at home just thinking about future social situations. The alarm never rests. That's what it was trained to do, and Raphael obeys every time because obeying brings relief. When he declines the invitation, the alarm quiets down. His body relaxes, the tension fades, and his brain learns saying no works, avoiding works, disappearing works, but working isn't the same as living. Now let's go deeper, because Raphael doesn't know this yet, but he's not just fighting an alarm. He's being run by a shadow, and that shadow has a name. Raphael's shadow is called the inadequate one. It doesn't yell, it doesn't argue, it doesn't need to. It just whispers. Every time Raphael thinks about stepping forward, you don't belong here. You're not like them. You don't know how to do this right. And Raphael believes it. Not because he's weak, not because he's stupid, but because this shadow was built on real experiences. It has roots. It has an internal logic. It makes sense. The inadequate one was born the moment Raphael started believing there was a right way to be, and that he wasn't it, that other people knew something he didn't, that there was some invisible code for being around others, and he never got the manual. So he spent his life guessing, trying to imitate, trying not to mess up, trying to be acceptable, but never being himself, because he doesn't trust that himself is enough. Every shadow has a function. It's not there to destroy you. It's there to protect you. The inadequate one is the part of Raphael that decided, if I don't try, I don't fail. If I don't show up, I don't get rejected. If I don't show who I am, no one can say who I am isn't enough. And for a long time that worked. Raphael avoided pain, avoided embarrassment, avoided rejection, but he also avoided connection, avoided friendship, avoided intimacy, avoided opportunity. He built a life that was safe but small. And now, at 32, Raphael is tired. Tired of being afraid, tired of running, tired of getting home at night with that hollow feeling, the feeling of having spent the entire day hiding. He wants to change, but he doesn't know how, because everything he's tried so far has been willpower. This time will be different. I'll speak up in the meeting. I'll accept the invitation. And when the moment comes, the alarm goes off, the shadow whispers, and Raphael pulls back again and again and again. And he thinks the problem is him, that he's weak, that he lacks courage, that he'll never get past this. But that's not it. The problem isn't Raphael. The problem is that he's fighting the wrong system. He's trying to beat the alarm with logic. He's trying to silence the shadow with shame, and that doesn't work. It never has, it never will. So what does work? Listen closely, because this is where things start to shift. You don't defeat the shadow. You don't kill the alarm. You don't erase fear. You take command. You acknowledge that the alarm is on, that the shadow is present, that fear is active, but you stop obeying automatically. You start asking questions. Is this alarm going off because there's real danger? Or old memory? Is this shadow protecting me or trapping me? Is this fear saving me or isolating me? And when you ask those questions, something changes. Not instantly, not easily, but it changes, because for the first time, you're not reacting, you're responding. Raphael started doing this without even realizing it. It was a normal Thursday. He was at his computer when his boss sent a message in the group chat. Planning meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Everyone needs to bring at least one idea for improvement. The alarm fired immediately. His stomach tightened, his chest locked up, his thoughts started racing. I don't have a good idea. I'll say something stupid. Everyone will think it's ridiculous. Raphael was about to type, I won't be able to make it tomorrow. When he stopped, he took a breath and he thought, why do I always do this? It wasn't harsh. It wasn't self-criticism. It was real curiosity. Why is it that every time there's a chance for me to show up, I disappear? And for the first time, Raphael didn't try to answer with logic. He just felt. He felt the fear, the tension, the urge to escape, and he noticed something. This wasn't new. This was old. This had happened 1,000 times before. So he did something different. He said to himself quietly, I know you're scared. I know you're trying to protect me, but I'm going to show up anyway. It wasn't heroic, it wasn't dramatic, it was small, but it was the first time Raphael didn't automatically obey the shadow. Let me pause here for a moment. If you're still here, I know you're not just listening, you're feeling it, feeling that this is about you, that it makes sense, that there's something inside you that learned how to hide too. And I want you to hear this. You're not alone in this. Right now, millions of people are avoiding being seen because they're afraid they're not enough. And this channel exists so we don't walk through that alone, so we can name what hurts, understand what's in control, and train what actually sets us free. If this is landing for you, subscribe, not because I need the number, but because you deserve a space where what you feel is taken seriously. And then, down in the comments, tell me this: what's the name of your shadow? You don't need to explain. You don't need to tell the whole story, just the name. Because when a shadow has a name, it loses power. And I want to read yours. Now we go to the root, because to quiet the alarm, you have to understand where it came from. And the truth is, fear of judgment doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from something very specific, the need to belong. Let me explain. When you were a child, belonging wasn't optional. It was survival, not in a dramatic way, in a real one. You depended on adults, on your family, on their approval to be cared for, fed, protected, and your brain learned fast. If I'm rejected, I'm not safe. So you did what every child does. You adapted. You tried to be what was expected. You tried not to cause trouble. You tried to please, and for a while, It worked. Until it didn't, because at some point you realized that no matter how hard you tried, something about you didn't quite fit. Maybe you were too quiet, or too loud, too sensitive, too intense, too strange. And then the signals started showing up, sometimes subtle, a disappointed look, an awkward silence, a comparison to another kid, sometimes direct. Why are you like this? Don't do that. You should be more like them. And your brain recorded everything, not as clear memories, as alarms. When you're yourself, you're at risk. When you stand out, you can be rejected. When you don't meet expectations, you're not loved. No one said these beliefs out loud. They were absorbed, etched in, automated. That's when the alarm was installed. But here's the part that changes everything. That alarm was necessary back then. It protected you when you were small and vulnerable. It helped you survive in an environment where approval really did matter. The problem is, the alarm never updated. It still thinks you're 5 years old. It still believes rejection equals danger, that if you don't please everyone, you'll be abandoned. So it fires. Every time you're about to expose yourself, every time you're about to say something real, every time you're about to show up as who you actually are, the alarm isn't wrong, it's outdated. And now, instead of protecting you, it traps you. Raphael started to understand this when he stopped and asked himself when the fear had begun. When memory came back, he was about 8. At school, the teacher asked everyone to draw their family. Raphael took his time, colored carefully. He was proud of it. When the teacher came over, she stopped at his desk, looked at the drawing for a few seconds and said, "Raphael, why is your drawing so different from the others?" She wasn't trying to be cruel. She was just curious. But Raphael heard something else. "You did it wrong. You didn't do it the right way. You're different, and different is bad." He never drew freely again. And years later, he realized something. That moment wasn't about the drawing. It was about the belief that was born there, that being different was dangerous, that drawing attention was risky, that the safest move was to copy, imitate, disappear. And that's what he did for most of his life. Now here's the trap, thinking you need to go back to that moment, to heal it, to move forward. You don't. You don't need to dig up every painful memory. You don't need to relive every rejection. You don't need to forgive everyone who hurt you. What you need is to recognize this. The alarm was created in a specific context, and that context no longer exists. You're not that vulnerable child anymore. You're an adult. You're independent. Your survival doesn't depend on approval. And when you truly see that, the alarm weakens. It doesn't disappear, but it loses strength. Because now you know, it's not protecting you, it's limiting you. Raphael spent a full week paying attention to when the alarm went off. He wrote it down, not in detail, just one line each time. Alarm went off when I thought about speaking in the meeting. Alarm went off when my neighbor said hi and I didn't know what to say. Alarm went off when I opened Instagram and saw everyone posting parties. And the more he noticed, the clearer the pattern became. The alarm always fired when there was a chance of being seen, not attacked, not humiliated, just seen. And then it clicked. The problem wasn't the world. The problem was what he believed the world would see if it looked at him. This matters. So let me say it another way. Social anxiety isn't about other people. It's about you, about the image you carry of yourself, about the deep belief that if people really knew you, they'd reject you. You don't wake up thinking, "I'm unlovable." But every time you avoid a social situation, every time you hide, every time you carefully control your words to avoid judgment, you're acting as if that belief is true. And the brain learns from what you do, not from what you think. The more you avoid, the more you reinforce the belief. The more you hide, the more you confirm, "There's something wrong with me." The alarm gets more sensitive, the shadow gets stronger, and you get more alone. But there's another path. And that's the path Raphael stepped onto the moment he stopped obeying the shadow automatically. He didn't decide to become brave. He didn't decide to become confident. He just decided to stop running all the time. And that small decision made room for something new. The next Friday, Raphael went to the meeting. He didn't talk much. He didn't offer a brilliant idea, but he was there, present. Did the alarm go off? Yes. Did his heart race? Yes. Did the shadow whisper? Yes. But Raphael didn't leave. He stayed, and at the end of the meeting, as people were walking out, his boss passed by and said, "Thanks for being here, Raphael." That was it. One simple sentence. Automatic. Probably not even thought through. But Raphael felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging, not because he stood out, not because he impressed anyone, but because he was present. And sometimes being present is enough. Now we train because understanding matters. But it's not enough. You can understand the shadow, you can understand the alarm, you can understand the route, but if you don't train a different response, nothing changes. And training doesn't mean forcing yourself. It doesn't mean pretending you're not afraid. It doesn't mean throwing yourself into situations that overwhelm you. Training means taking small, conscious, repeated steps in the opposite direction of running away. What I'm about to give you has 3 movements. They're not fast, they're not magical, but they work. If you practice them for 30 days, something will change. Not everything, not forever, but something real. First movement, turn the volume down on the alarm. The alarm fires in the body before it fires in the mind. So the first step isn't thinking differently, it's breathing differently. When the alarm goes off, and it will do this, inhale for 4. Hold for 4, exhale for 6. Repeat that 3 times. This isn't meditation. It's not deep relaxation. It's just a signal to the body. There's no danger right now. The alarm stays on, but the volume drops. And when the volume drops, you can think, you can choose, you can stop running on autopilot. Second movement, map the route. Every day for 30 days, write 1 line, just 1. Today the alarm went off when, and you finish the sentence. No explanation, no analysis, just record it. For example, today the alarm went off when I thought about replying in the group chat. Today the alarm went off when someone said my name on the street. Today the alarm went off when I imagined tomorrow's party. After 30 days, you'll have 30 lines, and you'll see the pattern. You'll see the alarm doesn't fire randomly. It fires in specific situations, and once you see the pattern, the mystery loses its power. Third movement, act as the opposite archetype. Remember Raphael's shadow? The inadequate one. The opposite archetype is not the confident one, not the extrovert, not the popular one. The opposite archetype is the present one. The present one isn't perfect, isn't fearless, isn't sure of themselves all the time, but they show up. They don't disappear. They don't vanish. They don't make excuses. They're there, even uncomfortable, even nervous, even afraid. So the training is this: once a day for 30 days, do one small thing the present one would do. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be heroic. It could be replying to a message without rehearsing it 3 times. It could be saying good morning without waiting for the other person first. It could be staying 5 more minutes in a conversation instead of making an excuse to leave. It could be accepting an invitation even when you want to say no. The small step is what changes everything, because the brain learns through repetition, not intensity. Doing something small 30 times teaches more than doing something big once and never repeating it. Raphael did this. He didn't become a different person. He didn't become extroverted. He didn't wake up confident overnight. But after 30 days, something had shifted. He no longer felt the need to escape every time people were around. The discomfort was still there. The nerves were still there, but he could stay. And staying, even while uncomfortable, felt like freedom. Let me make this concrete. Here's what a real training day looks like. Imagine you're going to try this today. Right now, you take a piece of paper, any paper, and you write 3 lines. Line 1, the alarm went off when, example, the alarm went off when I thought about replying to someone's story. Line 2, what was the alarm trying to protect me from? Example, from seeming awkward, from being ignored, from putting myself out there and getting nothing back. Line 3, what would the present one do right now? Example, the present one would reply without rehearsing, without measuring every word, without waiting for an outcome. And then you do it. Not perfectly, not with total confidence, but you do it. And you write it down. The next day you do it again, and again, and again. That's the method. Simple, but deep. Slow, but real. It's not a cure. It's not a miracle fix. It's training. And training repeated becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. Raphael is different now. The alarm still shows up sometimes. The shadow still whispers now and then, but he doesn't obey blindly anymore. He questions, he breathes, he chooses, and most of the time he chooses to stay, to show up, to be present. And he discovered something important. The world didn't collapse. People didn't judge him the way he expected. He could exist, imperfect, uncomfortable, nervous, and still be okay. That changed everything. Before I end, I want to tell you this. If you made it all the way here to the end of this video, you weren't just watching, you were recognizing something in yourself, something that hurts, something heavy, something that pulls you away from the world. And I want you to know this isn't weakness, it's sensitivity pointed in the wrong direction. It's a protection system that went too far. It's a shadow that tried to save you and ended up trapping you. Now, you know its name. Now you know where it came from. Now you know how to slowly quiet the alarm that won't stop. It won't be fast, it won't be easy, but it will be real, and real is what matters. If this video felt like it was made for you, I want to invite you to subscribe, not because I need the number, but because you deserve a place where shadows are named, fear is respected, and change is possible. Every week, I bring a new video exploring a different shadow, a different alarm, a different kind of training. And if there's a shadow you want me to explore next, leave a comment. It can be a word, a phrase, the name you gave your shadow. I read all of them, and sometimes one person's comment becomes the video that helps someone else breathe again. So comment, share your story, name your shadow, because when a shadow has a name, it loses power, and I want to see you free. That's the video. Thank you for staying until the end. Thank you for trusting this space. Thank you for choosing not to run, even if it was just for a few minutes. Until next time, and remember, you're not broken, you're learning, and what was learned can be unlearned, one step at a time.